Dear students, welcome to the e-learning. This initiative is taken by Cambridge International School, Thrissur. I am Navdeep, working as PGT Informatics Practices here. I welcome you all into a new session. Today we will focus on a new topic, functions and control statements. So functions and control statements like if, else and looping, they are very important constituents of the Python programming. So before going into detail, students, first we need to go what are the topics that we have covered till date. Uh, we covered the what are the data types that are used in Python, operators, expressions, precedence of operators, debugging. Just briefly going through these topics. In data type, you see in this diagram that we have major data type is numbers, again categorized into three parts: integer, floating point and complex numbers. Then under integer we have booleans. Then sequences are the another very important data types in Python, under which we have strings, list and tuples. The difference between list and tuple is that lists are mutable, means its values can be changed, but the elements of tuples cannot be changed, that is they are immutable. Then we have sets data type, none, and last we covered is mapping. Under mapping we have dictionary data type. So this is the broader view about the data types available in Python. Then students, we covered about operators. So operators, as you know that the operators we covered: arithmetic operator, relational operator, a logical operator, and then we covered the membership operator. So operator is they help to perform operations on the operands. Like here in this example we can say 10 and num is operand, and in between we have a plus is the operator, and 10 and num, they are the operands. So plus falls under the category of binary operator. Then we covered the expressions. These all these topics are very interrelated. What is expression is? Expression is the basically combination of operands, operators, variables, clear, constants. So combined together they formulate a expression. Like see here in the example, num minus 20.4. This is the complete expression. Then number 2, 3 plus 3.14. So these are the examples of expressions where we have operands, operators, and combined together, clear, they formulate a expression. Then another important topic is the precedence of operators. So basically in expression how the operators are evaluated, clear. So precedence means that what is their hierarchy, clear. The operators with the higher hierarchy or order will be evaluated first, clear, and then the operators with the lower hierarchy or lower order, they will be evaluated later on. So if in expression we have two operators of same level or same hierarchy or same order, so then the expressions, then the operators falling from the left side first will be evaluated first. And you know that we also covered that the parentheses are having a highest priority. So if in an expression we find the parentheses, so they will be evaluated first. So the points we need to keep in mind that how the expressions are evaluated. The precedence of operator plays an very vital role in understanding the evaluation of a expression. Last another topic we covered, that was debugging. So debugging is basically the removing the errors. So when we are going into programming, it's not the case that we will not encounter any error. So we will encounter errors, so we have to remove them. So first is the syntactical errors. So when we are not following the Python syntax, so that sort of error will be fall under the category of syntax error. Students, second category of error is logical errors. What are logical errors? So logical errors occur, let's say that yesterday we gave the example of when we are calculating the average of two numbers and we are not following the proper syntax, but we are expecting the right result. So because we have not basically used the proper syntax plus the logic, syntax is correct but the logic that we want to get from that is having some bugs over there, so these sort of errors will fall under the category of logical errors. And then the last category of error is runtime errors. So they occur at the runtime environment. Let's say we have a expression that is absolutely fine, having no syntax error, no logical error, but we have divided it by 0. So these sort of error will occur at the runtime. Clear? So it's very important to remove the errors first for the proper functioning of our programs. So that's what we have covered yesterday. Next we are going to focus on functions. So functions are also a very vital constituents of Python programming. What are functions? A function refers to a set of statements or instructions. They are grouped together under a name that perform a specific task. So functions are basically meant for a particular task. Like let's say we have a calculator program, and in that we have a specific function add functions. We have a specific function subtraction function. We have a specific function multiplication. So statements of all those functions will be clubbed together, grouped together. So that's how a function is made. So for a repeated or routine task, we define a function. So where we know that this certain task will be repeated again, so we'll formulate a function over there. So function is defined once and can be reused at multiple places. So the best use of function is its reusability. A function made once, we can use that function any number of times, so that helps in reducing our efforts. So that point is covered under reusability, making once and reusing it again and again. So we can call a function any number of times. Next, what are the constituents of a function? First is name of a function, that is the vital part. From here we will identify a function. Second is arguments, that how many arguments it has, or a function can have no arguments. All the arguments must be enclosed within the parentheses. So a function may or may not have arguments. The last point is return value. So similarly, point regarding the return value of function may or may not have return values. So after processing the function, it basically basis on that it passes the value to the calling point. Clear? So if it has some values, it will return the value. So some functions do not have a return value. So that depends upon the scenario that we will go into the when we see the practical example now. So students, here you can see the some of the commonly used functions. Clear? Some of the commonly used functions, like first input output function we have already used. So second category is data type conversion functions, boolean, character, dictionary, float, integer, list, so on. So these are the functions related with data type conversions. And next we have mathematical functions like ABS for absolute values, division mode functions to find the maximum value, minimum, power function, sum function. So these functions fall under the category of mathematical functions. And in other functions like that, for that we need to import a particular module like len, that is to find the length, range, type. So we have numerous built-in functions. Clear? So first we will try to solve these functions here now. We'll see the practical part. So we will now move to the Jupyter notebook to have a look on the functions. So moving forward, coming to the Python platform. So first we'll uh, make use of how we use the built-in functions. We make a function to calculate the square of number. So first we need to have a variable num. So I use here an integer function. Then inputting is required. So here I pass the message, enter the first number, and then we have, if I have started two parentheses, I have to close these, so there should be corresponding matching between the parentheses also. Then in the next step I calculate the square, use a square variable. Then how it is calculated, num multiplied by num, and finally I print the message, the output part, the square of num is so that is for formatting part. So I will use here now the second variable, square variable. So students, you see here three functions I have used: input function, integer function, and then print function. So all these three are built-in functions. So here it input basically receives a parameter from the keyboard, and by default we know that input whatever it gets, uh, 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 it take it as a string. So that's why I have used integer function to convert the value passed by input function to convert into a number, because we cannot calculate the square of a what is the fun of calculating the square of a string. So we need to convert into a number. Then here I have performed this expression is num into num will be calculated, and the value will be assigned to the left hand side variable, that is square variable. And finally the print is basically I have used to find the output. So see students how I run this one. So first I need to pass the value, let's say I pass 5, press enter. So you see here the output is enter the first number. So this is the first part inputting 5, I have passed it as a parameter. Then the square, the print function is giving me the output, the square, this is the message, the square of num is value having value 5 is the output here is in a square variable 25. So this is how we can use the built-in functions. Now moving back to our PPT. So students, after covering the functions, we next move to the if else statement. So students, the if else, they fall under the control statements. This is very important part. So we are going into the advanced steps of programming. So see here, usually statements in program are executed one after another. So this is a sequential programming, or sequentially execution takes place. However, there are situations when we have more than one option to choose from. So based on the outcome of the certain conditions, this can be done using if else. So if we have to apply the conditions part, clear. So in real life scenario, we see that nothing is without the conditions. Like we take that who can vote, a person who is having a age more than 18 or more than 18, he can go for voting, clear. So that is the condition, a person with a lesser age cannot vote. So in real life scenarios, we see the conditions. We, let's say, for appearing the for final exam, we need minimum 75% of attendance. So this is a condition. So conditions we see in the real life. That's why how we are going to implement these conditions in programming using if construct. So conditional statements let us write the program to do different tasks and to take different path based on the outcome of the conditions. Students, in real life we encounter the conditions, and the same conditions we want to implement in programming also. So first, there are three ways to write if else statements. So we'll study all these three things. Clear. We will move to the Python platform clear, in the Jupyter notebook, and implement all three ways how the if statement is executed. So students, we are back to the Jupyter notebook. So first students, we implement the use of simple if statement and see how this is executed. So let's say I take a age variable. What I need to input here, enter your age. So this is the input that we are asking from the user, converted into the integer one. You already know why this step is done. So then I put the condition if age is greater than or equal to 18. I mark here colon, then is print. So you are eligible for vote. So I run this one. So students, it is asking about the age. Let's say I enter here 23. So the message is you are eligible for vote. Students, what are the key things here? So first is that I have asked for the input, clear, and then converted into integer because the age should be in numbers, because we want to perform certain calculations. On strings we can't perform the calculations. And in if, this is the condition part, and then this we have this colon. So colon, what is the colon is? Colon is meant, its use is that it marks the ending of the condition. And students, you are also looking at that print is having the, here we have certain space here, because this part is called indentation in the Python programming, that this print is part of the if statement. So this is the if statement. Why this is called simple if? Because it is having only one part, that is the true part. So if age is greater than equal to 18, you will get the message. And let's say I run this program again, input the age, let's say 14. You see there is no message is there after receiving the input, because it contains only one part only, it doesn't have the else part. So if I want to make it more comprehensive using the else part, so let's say enhance the proper program. Let's say now else part contains another message, print you are not eligible to vote. So now this if is first part is the true part, second part is false. When the condition is not met, then the else part will get executed. So this is, you can say this is not a simple if, this is if else now. Clear? So when I run, this is just a comment just to show you clear what we are doing here. So when I enter, let's say age, let's say now 14. So you will get a message now that you are not eligible to vote. Why? Clear? Because I have put here the second part. If the condition fails, then the second part, else part, gets executed. So students, you can see how the if else construct works. So students, next we represent the next if else if, clear, where we have now multiple conditions. So this time we take a new example. So how we start? Let's say we start with the number variable. So we take the input from the keyboard. So we ask the user to enter a number. So and now we check first if condition, if number is greater than 0. So we print a message but message should be number is positive. Clear? And the second construct, so keep remember this indentation, very important part. Else if number is less than 0, so we give a message here, print number is negative. And what will be the third case, students? The third else will be the number is third case will be the number is, let's say that number is 0. Clear? So these are the all three cases that we have. Clear? How to test this one? So let's say I want to test this one now, run this one. So it is saying the syntax error because I have not used here the colon. So go to the program back, place here the colon part. So let's say I enter a number, let's say I enter 10. So the message is number is positive. We check the second case. So let's say I pass now -5. Oh, first run this one. Run this one. So this time I enter a number here minus, let's say 8. Pass the value. So the message is the number is negative. So we will check the third case. Again go back to the program. Run this one. Now I pass a value 0. So you see the message is 0. So here in this case, students, we are handling multiple conditions. We can take the example of like grades. So let's say if students grades are scoring marks greater than 90, so we say that A plus grade. From 80 to 90, we let's say the A grade is there. So like there are huge number of examples in real life where we can use this if else construct. So students, simply we are done with today's topic. We have done the simple if else construct, and if else construct. So three major construct under the control statements if. So at the end, students, I hope you are understanding the matter. So if you find any difficulty, so you can contact me. So at the end, I thank you on the behalf of Cambridge International School, Thanks.